when I was in high school, I was blessed with the opportunity to go to a school in Lagos, Nigeria. And this was one of the most robust or intense schools in that part of the state. And there's schools all over Nigeria that are very good. But I thank God for the one that I went to. And I was blessed to attend a school with so many students that came from the elementary school as students who were ranked high in their, elementary school. So there was a lot of competition in the school that I went to. But there was something very interesting in the school that we attended. The student who generally was the best in math in my grade level. So from they call it junior secondary school 1 to senior secondary school 3. So the student who was number 1 for almost the whole time, he was almost always number 1, right? And he knows himself. I don't know if he wants me to say his name out loud. But this student was pretty consistent as number 1 for 6 years, even though most of us who had come from our elementary schools were also number 1 or 2 or 3 in our school. So you bring all these students who are generally either first, second, or third into a school, and you have a person who still stays number 1 all over and over again. And here's what I asked him, because they give us prizes in our boarding school. They used to give us prizes. The best in mathematics will get a prize. Usually, maybe it's a book. I don't remember. I never got the prize. But I should better ask him that later. But so if you're number 1, you get your prize. If you're number 2, generally it was only number 1 for each of the subjects. I remember being number 2 in economics one year, and they never gave me a prize for it. But anyways, the idea though is that this should inspire you, and it should show other students what they can get when they work hard. Well, we worked hard, but this guy didn't give us, we just didn't have the opportunity to beat him out, right? And I had other friends who were the best in chemistry, and friends, by God's grace, I hung around a lot of people who love to study or who just love to, read books. But here's what's interesting. When I emailed my friend who was number 1 in mathematics, and I asked him, or when I actually went and visited him at MIT a few years ago, and then I asked him, like, okay, can you give me more background as to what strategies you used when we were in high school? And he shared some of the strategies with me later on in an email when he said that, Amos, I found a book that explains some of the principles that I was using. And that book is actually called Peak by Anders Ericsson. So some of the principles of deliberate practice is what he was using to beat us out in math. So anyways, I'll share more of those strategies in my math course as I'm presenting it to you. But what I want to tell you before I run is that anybody who wants to become an A+ student, right? There's strategies to become an A+ student in math. And so I've taken a lot of those strategies, I've put them in my book, Tools for Mastering Mathematics. And in this book, part of what I did was I wrote down every single topic we teach kids, okay? Every topic. Remember, there's something called Google, there's something called YouTube. You can look up a lot of these topics and you can learn them on your own, especially in the summertime. This is the time to begin to make progress for next year. And so I did that for the third part of this book. And then in the first part of the book, I share some strategies. There are some solid ways that you can become an A+ student. Now, if I knew some of these strategies now and some of the things that I discussed with my friend when I visited MIT and so on, if I go to a different school setting now, of course, which I'm doing my PhD now, but if I'm using those principles, that will be something that will keep me on track. That will be something that will help me that will help me to flourish. So I want you to keep that in mind. There are ways to learn, and that's part of what I'm trying to say. Let's teach people those principles of how to flourish. So before we run, remember, math provides a level playing field. Generally speaking, math doesn't care your background. Math doesn't care how much melanin you have in your skin. Math gives you an opportunity to flourish because it follows objective rules. And so with those objective rules, we can help more and more children to enjoy math, to enjoy science, and get more people in the science and math field. And if we get more people in the science and math field, then they can move on, hopefully, to make an impact in that world. There's a lot of jobs in science and math, my friends. I just want to encourage you to remind people of that. And even if they feel like their math is weak today, it can get better. Don't settle for where you are today. Get the tools you need. Send me an email if you need some of these tools or resources. And mastery is key with math. Mastery is key with math. What does this mean? It means that when you learn a topic, you don't just learn enough and say, well, I think I'll be okay. I think I know it. No. You say, I need to know this topic like I know my name. So mastery is important. And the other thing to keep in mind with math is that having a coach helps. So get a math coach. It might be your brother. It might be your friend. I remember, actually, before I leave, I'll tell you this. I remember my brother, one time I was struggling with I think it was changing the subject of the formula or something. So we call it 1-step, 2-step, 3-step equations or literal equations now in America. But in Nigeria, I think it was changing the subject of the formula. Now, by God's grace and with a lot of hard work, I was always number 1, 2, or 3 in elementary school. They gave us awards every year. And I was always, on top of one of those in 1, 2, 3. But what was interesting is that I got to a roadblock. And I remember my brother Emmanuel, we had a conversation. I don't remember how he fully explained certain things, but I went past that roadblock. And again, the rest is history. But it's just interesting that just because you've reached a point where you think, I don't think I can do this. No, ask, get a coach. You can do it. Apply yourself and work hard. Math is a beautiful subject. And so please check out Tools for Mastering Mathematics. It is on my website, livingsensibly.org under resources if you want to see a free PDF of it. Thank you for your time. Take care and God bless.